Today we're looking at composite functions. You should already be familiar with functions. So the function f of x equals 2x plus 3. The function g of x equals x squared minus 5. So that, for example, f of 4 equals 2 times 4 plus 3 equals 8 plus 3 equals 11. G of 2 equals 2 squared minus 5 equals negative 1. Okay, you should be familiar with those now. Composite functions, composite just means made up of more than one part. So composite functions are where I bring together two or more functions. For example, fg of x. It's important we remember the order in which we do these. The x is beside the g. So we do the g to the x first, and then we do f to whatever the outcome is. So fg of x is f on, or g of x is x squared minus 5. If I do f to x squared minus 5, then essentially this bit here, the x squared minus 5, replaces the x in the f function. So that equals 2 times x here is x squared minus 5 plus 3. So fg of x is do g of x to x. So I do g to x, my apologies, then do f to g of x. 2 times x squared minus 5 plus 3. Tidy that up, that's 2x squared minus 10 plus 3. 2x squared minus 7. Now, importantly, in general, fg of x is not the same as gf of x. So for this one, gf of x equals g on f of x, or f of x is 2x plus 3. So I do g to 2x plus 3. And when I do g to 2x plus 3, I get x is replaced by 2x plus 3. So it's 2x plus 3 squared, take away 5. Now I usually recommend that people expand these out into 2 brackets before they start expanding out properly. So I better do the same as I tell other people to do it. 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3 minus 5, which equals 4x squared plus 6x plus 6x in the middle there, plus 9, take away 5, which equals 4x squared plus 12x plus 9, take away 5, plus 4. So you notice fg of x is not the same as gf of x. And in general, that's true, that fg of x is not equal to gf of x. There will, of course, be cases where they are equal to each other. Okay, I've introduced a new function here. H of x is 3x minus 1. I'll give you a moment now to try to do f h of x. And g h of x. If you just want to pause it there, restart when you've got the solutions. Okay, if you've done your solutions, what f h of x is. We do f onto h of x, so f onto 3x minus 1, which equals, well, f is 2 times 3x minus 1 plus 3 equals 6x minus 2 plus 3 equals 6x minus 2 plus 3 plus 1. gh of x. So I do g to h of x. Well, h of x is 3x minus 1. And g onto h of x is, well, g is x squared minus 5. So it's 3x minus 1 squared minus 5, which equals, I suppose I should expand this out because I tell people to do it myself, so I better do it. 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1 minus 5 equals 9x squared minus 3x minus 3x plus 1 minus 5, which equals 9x squared minus 6x plus 1, take away 5, take away 4. So we've got fh of x, gh of x. Let's just finish that off by solving for some values of x. So fh of 2, for example. fh of 2, I just put 2 into this one up here. fh of 2 equals 6 times 2 plus 1 equals 13. gh of negative 1 is gh, there's the function, 9 times negative 1 squared minus 6 times negative 1 minus 4 equals 9 times 1 minus 6 times minus 1, so plus 6 minus 4 equals 15 minus 4 is 11. Okay, that's essentially it for composite functions. There's a couple of problems at the end here. If you want to pause your tape now to solve them, then I'll come back and give you the solutions in a couple of minutes. So if you've got your solutions, here are mine. M of x is 3x plus 2, n of x is 2x squared. Find mn of x. So mn of x is m of 2x squared, because n of x is 2x squared. And that equals, well, the m function is 3 times 2x squared plus 2, which is just 6x squared plus 2. n m of x, well, that equals to n of, what's m of x? 3x plus 2. And then what is the n function? The n function is 2 times x, well, that's the x I'm putting in, 3x plus 2 squared. And that equals 2 times, to save space here, because I'm crashing into this one already, I'll expand this out in one go, 9x squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 12x plus 4 equals 18x squared plus 24x plus 8. Okay. Then we've got find if mn of a is 26, find the values of a. So mn of a equals 26. We've just worked out what mn function is. That's just here. That's mn, 6x squared plus 2. So mn of a is 6a squared plus 2, which is 26. Let's rearrange this equation. 6a squared equals 24. That implies a squared equals 24 over 6 is 4. And that implies A equals plus or minus 2. So the values are A equals 2 or A equals minus 2. The values are A equals 2 or A equals minus 2. Okay, now we've got number 3 here. Given, this is much harder, given mn of p equals nm of p, find the values of p. Well, we know what mn of p is, just putting p into this equation here. So we'll do that first. Remember, there are lots of marks we had along the way in the exam, and this is a question that's going to be very near the end of the paper. 6 p squared plus 2 equals nm of p. Well, nm is this function down here, so it's 18 p squared plus 24p plus 8. Right, we need to rearrange that and find the p-value. Let's take all the p's over there because this is a larger number of p squared terms on this side. Let's take everything over there. 18p squared minus 6p squared is 12p squared. So 2 equals 12p squared plus 24p plus 8. Let's take the 2 away. 0 equals 12p squared plus 24p plus 6. Okay, that's a quadratic to solve. We can see straight away that 6 goes into all 3 terms. Let's divide through by 6. 0 equals 2p squared plus 4p plus 1. 0 equals 2p squared plus 4p plus 1. We solve this now. Well, we've got, we can complete the square. Doesn't factorize. Well, we've got the quadratic formula. You've learned the quadratic formula, so let's use that one. P equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. If you haven't learnt that, you need to learn that before we get into the exam room. P equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That equals, we need to remember what the b and the a and the c are. Minus b is the number that times p, so it's 4. Plus or minus the square root of b squared is therefore 16 minus 4 times a is the number times p squared, so 2. And c is the constant term, 1. Divided by 2 times a, 2 times 2 is 4, equals, well, minus 4 over 4 is minus 1, so let's separate them, plus or minus square root of 16 minus 8. That's 8 over 4. Make it clear that the 4 here is not inside the square root. Equals negative 1 plus or minus 8. There's a square number in there. It's 4 times 2, isn't it? So 2 root 2 over 4 equals negative 1 plus or minus root 2 over 2. So P equals negative 1 plus root 2 over 2, or negative 1 minus root 2 over 2. And that's the answer.